You thirst for some significance of the both dimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary and the Sun and Night Dreams After Dark.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News, and I'm James Creechbaum. Winds, for all the truckers out there, winds have been whipping through the mountains and foothills across Southern California today, and one gust topped 100 miles an hour, and a few miles north of the I-80 in the mountains of San Diego County. Now, strong offshore winds are expected to weaken this evening, but will continue through the first half of Thursday. The Santa Ana winds will warm things up as well, and San Diego and Los Angeles could break record highs tomorrow. For all the other truckers in the other areas of the country, millions await snow and bitter cold as storm moves from the Midwest to the Northeast. After a snowy Tuesday in the plains, a winter storm will dump snow in a 1,200-mile stretch from Missouri to Maine from Wednesday into Thursday. As the system moves east, winter weather advisories and winter storm watches have been issued by the National Weather Service from the Central Plains to northern New England. By Thursday, the heaviest snow will paste areas in northern New York State and northern New England as well. As of right now, in the Northwest, Washington on the East Coast should experience rain in through the night, and then central Washington will have a mix. Coronavirus, pandemic, inevitable, U.S. warns. Well, Germany is heading for epidemic as the virus spreads faster outside of China. Now, Germany said on Wednesday that it was heading for a coronavirus epidemic and could no longer trace all cases. As the number of new infections inside China, the sources of the outbreak, was for the first time overtaken by those elsewhere. Asia reported hundreds of new cases. Brazil confirmed Latin America's first infection, and the new disease also hit Pakistan, Greece, and Algeria. U.S. health authorities, managing 59 cases so far, have said a global pandemic is likely. The World Health Organization said China had reported 411 new cases on Tuesday against the 427 logged in 37 other countries. Well, today, Trump said coronavirus risk to Americans very low, puts Pence in charge of the government response. The president addressed the outbreak at the White House, surrounded by the administration's public health experts. President Trump on Wednesday attempted to ease growing fears over the spreading of the coronavirus, saying at the White House that his administration has the situation under control and is ready to adapt if the virus spreads. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low, Trump said. We're ready to adapt and ready to do whatever we have to do as the disease spreads, if it spreads. We're very, very ready for this, Trump said, adding that only 15 people had contacted the virus in the U.S. and all were expected to recover. Questions remain 1 year after a Beaufort County teacher attacked and killed by an animal. Now, Brenda Hamilton was attacked by an animal on February 15th of last year outside of Pantego, but we still don't know what kind of animal it was. A committee worked for months trying to figure it out. They even sent evidence to labs to be tested. 1 year later, and there is no answers to what kind of animal or animals that were responsible. Buddhist monk over a century ago predicted the plague of 2020. When humanity is faced with difficulties with large-scale consequences, some try to analyze current events, and some, for example, seek answers in the past. Chinese people suddenly remembered that the events were fully predicted by a Buddhist monk named Zigzhong, the priest saw the coming of the coronavirus 100 years ago. He goes on to say, the plagues will encompass all the land and will eventually spread to the whole world. Very soon, rice will become so expensive that no one can eat. Then the rivers will sink all the boats. Next news break, top of the hour.
From the compound in beautiful Gig Harbor, Washington. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to you worldwide. Well, good evening, morning or evening over there. All depending on your time zone. This is Gary. You tuned in to Night Dreams Talk Radio. Tonight, are you ready to go for a real ride? Our guest is Terry Lovelace. He's been abducted, implanted, and has a story to tell. So stay tuned. It's going to be an awesome ride tonight.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, James, how was your day?
Oh, it wasn't bad. I mean, I had a little bit more swelling to battle today, but not as bad as yesterday. So it's good, not bad.
You kind of remind me of that one fish that has those big lips. You know that.
I do now. I was afraid you'd see that picture. It looks like a real human face with these big old lips. I know it. I felt like that too.
Oh, wow. So what did the doctor say? Did he say that the swelling will go down fastly, or is it going to take a while?
No, it's all the way down pretty much 90% now, but I had to take a bunch of Benadryl, and that pretty much knocks me out. I'm trying to stay awake. I was like a sober drunk today, bouncing off the walls. And then you got to be careful. He says sometimes you can just touch stuff that's made with byproducts of peanuts, and it could have a reaction.
Oh, yeah. You got to be careful because, when you go buy fast food, for example, and buy French fries, or you go out and buy some, like desserts like maple bars or donuts, you got to make sure it wasn't cooked with, cooking oil that, has peanut in it.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I found out about that the hard way. I ate another candy bar yesterday. It was just a little one, bite size. Didn't say nothing about peanuts in it, but I looked at the package about 3 minutes later when I moved my lip down so I could see over my lips, and it said peanuts in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, our guest tonight is back on for, I think, the fourth time, Terry Lovelace, a former U.S. Assistant Attorney General, a lawyer. It was in the, Air Force as a medic from 1973 to 79. Him and his friend decided, go camping. They never went camping before. So they went out and bought the sleeping bags, the tent, the lights, the food, and they headed out to a campground. And they thought they were going to a state campground, but then they decided, let's go the other across the road. And they went into kind of a deserted area. They thought they were on state grounds. It was federal grounds. And then they pitched their tent. And they were sitting by the fire, and they noticed this light way off in the distance kept coming closer and closer. Well, we'll leave the rest to when he comes on and he'll tell us what happened. But I can tell you one thing, very reliable guess. Very reliable.
He is. I've heard, not only have I heard a lot of guests on here, but I've got 30-some years of investigating, researching, talking to people in the UFO world and cryptid world, you name it, anything paranormal. And of all the people I've talked to, his story is the one that really, it just sends chills down my spine. I don't know what it is about his, but it really, it just really makes me pay attention because it's scary, Gary.
Well, you know what? And he claims he has an implant too. So we're going to talk about that. I mean, it's scary about, people that claim and have seen UFOs. People are coming out of the woodwork now. And they're not scared to say, I saw something. A couple of years ago, if you sat there and said, I was abducted, or I saw a UFO, or I saw a ghost, or something like that, people would try to get away from you like you wouldn't believe, like you're poison.
Oh, you're absolutely correct on that. And yeah, they would. Absolutely. And, it's funny because, I've seen what I think is two UFOs, and I still say what I think because even if they were UFOs technically under the term, but I'm the kind I don't jump to saying, well, it was aliens or anything like that. I'm a lot about facts, and I don't know what it was. I just know whatever I saw this year, it was weird. It wasn't something I've seen in my 50-plus years.
Oh, you're actually now admitting you're 50 instead of 72, huh?
Well, I should define, when I say 50 years, that's my adult life. I had like 20 years where I was a child.
Now, from what your mother said, it was like 30.
Oh, you heard her say that, didn't you? Dang it.
Yeah, well, things happen. Well,
I know.
Any UFO reports you can share with us real quick on anything?
Oh, let's see what there is. Well, yeah, I do got one here. This one came in. It was kind of strange. Let's see here. Where is it? I had it right here at the top. Okay, here it is. There was a guy, well, I'll just read it. It's called a mystery rod-shaped object filmed hurtling across the sky, and this was in California. And this was just recently. The mystery object looks similar to a previously sighting of a cigar-shaped or snake-like UFO that's been spotted throughout and across the skies in the U.S. The bright rod-shaped object has been filmed soaring across the sky in California in a bizarre video. And I've seen the video, and it was in Santa Clara, California. And the guy goes on to say, suddenly a long white object appears at the right of the screen before darting across the blue sky. Now, the man filming appears completely unaware, but noticed the object later on after watching the clip. And he submitted to, MUFON. Now, what had happened, the guy is he's doing like a Facebook Live or taking a selfie, something like that in his car. And it's got a big sunroof. And he's sitting there, just talking, doing his thing or whatever he's doing. And through this, you can see, because he's holding the phone, doing what he's doing. And actually on video, it's from left to right, and it's a cigar. It is a cigar-shaped looking object, pretty close to what I saw in July, and it's pretty freaky. And that was the most recent report that I've come across.
All I can tell you is that the reports on UFOs have been increasing. Where, as of September, for about a 4 or 5 month period, it kind of goes the opposite way. It sure hasn't this time.
Oh, you make a good point. I just seen there was a report, I can't even find it now, but I got it here somewhere, where all the states so far, this up to date, where the reports were come in. I think your state was third or fourth, and usually your state's at the top, but the number one state was California and Florida. Those were the top two states, and I think California had 46, and Florida was pretty close, around 40. And Washington had like 26 or 28 sightings so far, something like that.
Interesting. Well, that virus that's going around, they got their first report now from a stewardess from an airline in California.
Oh, a stewardess has it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's the person that was reported. Now, she doesn't fly out of country, so it's in country. But that kind of